Why did it only skip those crucial 2 hours? And why was the camera outside her cell angled just out of frame? Sandra's family refused to accept the suicide ruling. They knew her. They heard her on those final calls. Her sister called the claim a lie, wrapped in a cover-up. A private autopsy revealed inconsistent ligature marks. No bruising on the neck. No clear evidence she had hanged herself the way the report described. Their conclusion? This was not a suicide. This was a homicide, or at the very least, neglect leading to death. They sued Waller County. And in court, an even bigger bombshell dropped. Sandra was recorded the day before her death. Sitting quietly. Barely moving. Officers claimed she had refused food. But there were no logs of food delivery. They said she was seen laughing with a guard. No such footage exists. They said she was given mental health evaluations. There are no documented evaluations in her file. Instead, she filled out a single intake form where she marked ballot box with checkmark past depression. No suicidal thoughts at intake. But instead of protection, she was placed in a cell with a plastic trash bag. No suicide. No padded room. No intervention. Just silence. Protests erupted across the country. Her name joined a growing list. Eric Garner. Tamir Rice. Freddie Gray. But something was different here. Sandra wasn't shot. She wasn't chased. She was educated. Articulate. Respectable. She did everything right. And yet, she ended up dead. Her death didn't challenge just the justice system. It challenged the myth that following the rules would keep you safe. It asked, who gets believed? Who gets protected? And why not her? Former officers, civil rights attorneys, jail consultants, they all agreed. Waller County Jail was a disaster waiting to happen. Police cars revolving light suicide prevention protocols ignored. Police cars revolving light racial bias unchecked. Police cars revolving light no third-party oversight. One black female officer put it bluntly. I could have been her. Any black woman could have been. One bad stop. One wrong word. And it's over. This wasn't a failure of one cop or one jail. It was a structure built to minimize accountability. Across the country, murals, chants, vigils. Say her name, Sandra Bland. But even as her story went viral, the system closed ranks. Encinia, the officer who arrested her, was indicted for perjury. He lied on his report. But the charge was dropped in a deal. He would never work in law enforcement again. That was it. No trial. No prison. No justice. Her family received a $1.9 million settlement. But they wanted more than money. They wanted truth. And what happened next shocked even them. In 2019, 4 years after her death, a journalist made a request under the Texas Public Information Act. What they received? A cell phone video. Filmed by Sandra during the stop. Hidden for 4 years. It showed her perspective. Her fear. Her calm defiance. She filmed Officer Encinia as he approached. He ordered her out of the car. He lunged. And the phone fell. It was never shared with the public. Never turned over to lawyers. Never presented in court. The Texas Department of Public Safety admitted. We had the video the whole time. Why hide it? What else are they hiding? Sandra Bland's death is not an isolated tragedy. She was one of 7 black women who died in Texas jails that year. All after minor arrests. All ruled suicides. All under suspicious circumstances. So we started digging. Case after case. Same inconsistencies. Same glitches. Same silence. In part 3, we go inside a network of jails across Texas. We expose patterns of death the state refuses to investigate. And we speak to a whistleblower, a former guard who says, Sandra wasn't the only one. She just got the cameras. Speech balloon comment below. Have you ever felt unsafe in a routine police stop? Do you think Sandra's phone video changes the story? Subscribe to be the first to see more of true crime series stories. What you're about to see began as a simple traffic stop. It ended in tragedy. And the real story may have been hidden in plain sight. Was this really about a lane change? Dashcam. July 10th. Prairie View, Texas. Sandra Bland, 28, was pulled over for failing to signal a lane change. The trooper approaches. It's aggressive from the start. He asks for her license. She complies. But when he asks her to put out her cigarette, Sandra pushes back. I'm in my car. Why do I have to put out my cigarette? His response? Get out of the car. Moments later, she's yanked out, slammed to the ground, and cuffed. She screams, "You're about to break my wrist." Backup arrives. Cameras roll. But the audio cuts out. Seconds of silence. Then Sandra is gone, shoved into the back of the cruiser. What should have been a warning, became a violent arrest. So we asked a former highway patrol officer, was this legal? His response? This wasn't about a lane change. This was control. She was found hanging in her jail cell 3 days later. Monday, July 13th. Sandra Bland is discovered in her cell at the Waller County Jail. Dead. A plastic trash bag tied around her neck. The official ruling? Suicide. But almost immediately, things don't add up. The jail intake form marked no for suicidal tendencies. A second form, also initialed, marked yes. Wait, both filled out the same day? Then, the medical examiner's report. The cause of death is listed as asphyxiation. But there's no sign of ligature marks matching the alleged setup. Just bruising on her wrists. Her back. Her shoulders. Her mugshot? Critics pointed out her posture, her eyes. Was she already unconscious? And the time she was found? Discrepancies. One report says 8:55 a.m. Another says 9:05. A third, marked final, says unknown. So we dig deeper. The timeline doesn't make sense. At all. The jail's surveillance system was supposed to be automated. Cameras on the 24th of July. But when investigators ask for video footage between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. that morning, they're given a CD. What's on it? A looping file. Same 3-minute shot. No sound. No clear entries or exits. You can't see Sandra's cell from that angle. No guards entering. No inmates moving. Just silence. Later, it's revealed the timestamp jumps forward. 8:24, then 8:59. Then, static. At 9:06, a guard says she found Sandra unresponsive. But that guard never appears on video. Not even once. Even stranger? A log entry shows that a cell check was completed at 8:15. Another at 8:30. But by then, Sandra may have already been gone. One insider called it ghost paperwork. She told a friend, "I'm not suicidal." Days after Sandra's death, her family accessed her jail phone log. She made 3 calls. One to her sister. One to her friend in Chicago. And one to the public defender's office. In the call to her friend, she said, "I don't know what's going on. But they're not telling me anything. I'm not suicidal, okay? I'm just angry." We obtained the voicemail Sandra left for the defender. "Hi, this is Sandra Bland. I was arrested on Friday. They say I assaulted an officer, but I swear, that didn't happen. I need help. Please call me back." There is fear in her voice. But also fire. Resolve. She didn't sound like someone preparing to end her life. She sounded like someone ready to fight. Her friend confirms this. She said, "I got this. I'm getting out. This is just a bump." But Sandra never got that call back. This wasn't just about Sandra. Sandra Bland's death is part of a pattern. A 2018 DOJ report showed that black women are 3.4 times more likely to be jailed after traffic stops than white women. Why? Minor infractions escalate. Quickly. Sandra's name joins a growing list. Rekia Boyd. Natasha McKenna. Kendra James. Tanisha Anderson. In each case, jail systems failed to protect. Or worse, concealed what happened. A retired intake officer explained. There's no national standard for mental health checks. No required review. It's chaos. And that trash bag in Sandra's cell? Jails are not supposed to provide hanging risks. But Waller County? No audit. No accountability. Instead, her death was labeled a tragedy. And the cameras? They were working, said the sheriff. We just didn't catch everything. But what if they did? What if what they caught had to be hidden? We uncover something new. A forensic video analyst reviewed the jail footage frame by frame. In one blurred corner of the video, a shadow appears at 8:13 a.m. Not a guard. Not a female inmate. A tall figure. No uniform. Enters the hallway. Stays for 90 seconds. Leaves. The jail log never mentions it. And the cell check? Logged after the shadow vanishes. We tracked down a whistleblower who claims Sandra wasn't alone in that hallway. Was it a cover-up? Was there someone who had access, but wasn't supposed to? Who was the shadow? And why hasn't anyone identified him? But we'll leave you with this. She said she wasn't suicidal. The footage was incomplete. The timeline, broken. And now, a mystery figure appears. Just before she's found dead. Stay tuned. Truth is coming. And it's darker than anyone imagined. Before the hashtags. Before the headlines. Sandra Bland was alive. Loud. Proud. And refusing to be erased. Sandra in her dorm room, filming a vlog. She smiles into the camera. My name is Sandy Bland, and I'm here to talk about injustice.
Okay, so Sandra seen on footage a day before death, sitting quietly, barely moving. Sandra had revealed to me this was because she was starving herself, scared, and anxious from it all. An officer said Sandra was seen laughing with a police guard. Sandra had revealed to me that is true. She laughed with the black police officer to both lift her spirit and ensure her safety. Officers said Sandra was given mental health evaluations and admitted to being suicidal, but Sandra had revealed that was a lie. Sandra had also revealed to me that police officers' racial biases and police brutalities were left going unchecked systematically by police departments. So black male and black female murders like hers by police are commonly open and closed cases hiding behind trails of lies and conspiracy on a he say she say versus police say basis, and that the police departments in Texas are like joining cults of white supremacy fans. Sandra had then revealed to me that since she was placed on a suicide watch, she should have been watched momentarily as a top priority, and that the only initial intake form that she had signed was marked no for suicidal tendencies by the jailer she's spoken with, just like intended. The medical examiner report initially ruled the cause of death as asphyxiation with a uniform sign of ligature marking around the neck, while an independent forensic pathologist death reporting stated death by asphyxiation with questionable to no signs of a ligature mark around her neck, just markings on her back, wrists, and her shoulders, with inconsistencies on how the body was found, and the possibility of a staged suicide scene. Sandra had then revealed to me this is because she didn't hang to death, nor did she hang herself to death, but instead because she was killed by the police officer Brian and another officer through asphyxiation with the same trash plastic bag that she was falsely framed to have hung herself with.
A single plastic bag can take up to 1,000 years to degrade. Every square mile of the ocean is about...
And lastly, the time of death Sandra was said to have been found was reportedly at 8:55 a.m. within the first report, and then said to have been at 9:05 a.m. within the second report. But Sandra had revealed to me that this is because she wasn't found around 8:55 a.m. or 9:05 a.m. like the two reports said, but instead she was asphyxiated on her bed during the early morning activity time at 8:49 a.m., but died later at 8:55 a.m. 6 minutes later, after refusing to die from the two officers that were holding her down to the bed, including Officer Brian, who had her head wrapped inside of the plastic trash bag. Sandra also stated to me that's why the police officers wrote 3 different finding times of her death. This is because she was killed at 8:55 a.m., and the officer reported it first, but then didn't want it to seem to near the time of her death, and so he later switched the time of death to 9:05 a.m. in the second report before changing finally that to unknown within the third report.
The Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, as you know, has listed the cause of death as hanging and the manner of death as a suicide. In a violent homicide or a murder where one person takes another person's life, It is typical, although not in all cases, but it is typical to see some sort of injuries on the person's hand, defensive injuries.